Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Coffee and Conversation in conjunction with Palma Yacht Crew. We are interviewing today Ben Nolan from Mittagong in the Southern Highlands in regards to the Australian Bushfires 2020. How are you today, Ben?
Good, thank you. And yourself?
Good, good. Well, we're a little bit wet here, but I understand that you've had a little bit of rainfall over this past few days.
Yes, finally we had some rain, which has eased a lot of droughts that's happening, and also fires, which has been coming quite close to us. So as it stands now, the two major fires that were within 10 kilometres of us are now under control, so everyone can breathe a little bit. And also the air quality has drastically improved.
I can see, you can actually
Yeah.
see the sky behind you there, so that's
Yeah.
definitely a nice thing.
It was only, last week you couldn't see more than 20, 30 metres in front of you.
Well, you're a former yacht captain.
First officer, and I also did a little bit of captain work towards the end, yes.
So you came off yachts how long ago?
14 months now, so yeah, a bit over a year.
Yeah. And the purpose of that was to become a farmer in Australia with your own plot of land and
yeah, and
become
also
daddy.
Just a change of scenery. Also, to be more of a father to my two kids. As you know, anyone knows, when you're in yachting, you spend a lot of time away from home. So that was the most important to me. Yeah.
So this is your home base. This is where you sort of plan to see your future. This is where you plan to raise your children. This is where you plan to retire. And this was all threatened.
Yes, it was all threatened. It's pretty daunting when you get warning messages coming through on your phone and by email telling you to evacuate and you got imminent danger, and you never really ever think about it until it's on your doorstep. Like I'll be the first to say I would never thought fire would come through here. It's the Southern Highlands. It's supposed to be like it's supposed to be like England. It's always cold and raining. Green grass. And, yeah, you never ever expect a fire to come through here, and just given the weather conditions over the last 12 months, last 6 months of last year we had not even 40 or 50 millimeters of rain, and we had this wind that was just drying everything out. It was so dry, and you look around and all the native trees are dying, but you never ever see native gum trees die. It's very, very rare. So yeah, the fires got pretty bad, and the high temperatures and the winds were pushing them pretty close to us.
Have you noticed a drastic change in the past year, or is it something that, was slowly happening, or did it just all of a sudden sort of?
It was slowly happening, and then it really hit hard, the drought. And we got literally no rainfall at all. Anything that was predicted, it never come. I speak to a lot of people around the Highlands and people who've lived here 40 or 50 years, and they say they've never ever seen any conditions like it. It's, these are the farmers from 3-4 generations that are telling me that they've never seen anything like it. I've only been here for a short period of time, and it was pretty sad to see. I mean, it's very depressing. Every time you look around, it's just everything's dead. It's horrible conditions, and it has a pretty big effect on anyone's mental state.
The people around you, I mean, do you have friends, family, etc., that have lost their homes?
Friends, yeah, people I work with, lost their farms and homes. So I'm with the rugby community here. It's a pretty good community to be in the Highlands, and yeah, a lot of people were affected. Their houses are just turned to ash. Basically, they're living on the streets, and yeah, it's sad to see.
Is there any help for them? I mean, did they have insurance first off? And if they did, or even if they didn't? I mean, how quickly are things being sorted out in order for them to have somewhere to go, or to the rebuild process?
So Tony, a guy that I've been working with for the last 12 months, his farm all but burnt, but the house survived. That happened. That was on the 31st of December. That happened, and only last week an assessor come out from an insurance company to do the assessment. So it's and he hasn't heard anything more, and he didn't tell. The assessor never told him anything. He just come out, he did his assessment and went off. So he doesn't have any answers whether they're going to pay him out or not. He looked at his policy. It's, like any insurance company policy, they're 180 pages long. You need a lawyer to read it and understand it. And yeah, he's still in the dark. So he's hoping that they're going to come through and pay. For people that have been put out of their home directly, they've got in place, the state government brought in emergency funding, and they're giving money to people straight up for them to go stay in hotels or anywhere they can stay where they're out of pocket. It did take a lot of time for the government to react. These fires were happening since September, all up north around Port Macquarie region on the mid-north coast. They've been burning up since September, and it wasn't until recently it started to come down southern Highlands, down the south coast. It got real bad, and that's when it really started to get attention, because it was making the world media. So the Australian government decided, well, it seemed as though they decided they'd better do something. So they started putting into action some more plans, and that's just where it went from.
What do you think was the catalyst that made the Australian government wake up? I mean, I know for me, what really drew the attention on this side was the little video of a koala that came out that was being rescued in the middle. That's really what caught my attention as far as to how serious it was. What on your end do you think really caught the worldwide media's attention?
A couple of volunteer firefighters died, and the Prime Minister tried to go out to some of these devastated communities, and he got severe backlash. And it was about that was when that was seen to be the turning point for it all. He went on holidays for almost 8 days to Hawaii during the midst of it all, and he lost the public's respect from that. He'll never get it back. People won't forget what happened. So, when you have a leader of a country, people kind of turn to that leader in times of crisis, and he failed the Australian population. And yeah, he may be doing stuff. A lot of people that do support him will stand up for what he did and carry on, but what he didn't do.
So has the government made enough of a turnaround at this stage? Do you think that they are now doing enough for the Australian people?
Yeah, they are. They are now. They're there. Immediate support's not real great, but they're trying to make it. They're trying to make it right now. Yeah.
So what are the next steps for you? You were mentioning that you've had quite a bit of rain, but it's nowhere near enough. Obviously, you have a farm to run, and you need moisture in order to grow and to have your farm productive. Is there rain in the forecast? Do you think that long term you're going to be suffering from the effects of this drought?
I don't think we'll ever go back to our annual averages. The climate's changed. It's simple as that. People can deny it all they want, but it's not until you actually live in it that you realise that there's so many people out there that are denying and not wanting it to be true that the climate's changing, and they'll come up with all kind of conspiracy theories. And a lot of the old boys around here are like, oh yeah, back in my day, blah blah blah. But your memories can fade pretty quick, and it's not until you're living in it until you realise it's a problem, and that is a problem itself, because so many people don't live in it. and then they won't respect simple things like water restrictions in place. Not many people respect that. But yeah, the drought is like we're destocking a lot of the cattle that we have. Just we don't have the feed anymore, and you got to buy the feed in. It's not worth it then. But yeah, we can't grow anything anymore. And like, we're all right here in the Highlands where we are, but you know, farmers out west have been struggling for years. There's no support for them. Suicide rates have gone up. There's no government support. People are selling their farms. They don't want to do it anymore.
So is that a big issue now? Is mental health becoming a big issue with the fact?
Yeah, it's a huge problem. Yeah.
And how are you feeling?
Oh, I'm okay. Like you get sad seeing it. But we're in a good situation where we are compared to a lot of people. So, but yeah, it is depressing seeing dead like a desert, and there's nothing you can do about it.
And as far as the mental health aspect, is there people coming in to provide counseling and to provide those sort of services, or you know, and for example, I mean, you know, I've grown up with, you know, men that have been loggers and men that have been farmers and cattle ranchers and that kind of thing. And when they lose their ability to take care of their families, they think that they're not as much of a man as they used to be. But is there training, you know, retraining or government help in order to find another form of income or another business? Is that forthcoming?
Yes, there's call lines you can call up. There's communities and there's Facebook pages where you can talk amongst other people. The support's there, yes. Community more than government. But yeah, they do have those avenues to take because they've obviously realised it's a problem now.
Well, then, you know, I mean, there's no words that I have because, you know, I'm not there, and my heart does go out to you, and I'm sure that every single person that's viewing this and listening to this, their heart goes out to you as well. But there are organizations that are able to donate money right into your local community, no?
Yes, there is, and there's plenty about. They're shared mostly on the communities, kind of like Palma Yacht Crew you have there. We have a Southern Highlands community group here where people share their stories and whatnot. There's other. I just seen recently. My mum added me to was buy products directly from drought affected farmers. So people put stuff up from just like their little farm and they try to sell it over Facebook as opposed to going down to a big supermarket and losing money that way, especially like dairy farmers. So there's plenty of avenues that are around to help people, and it's the local community is the biggest help. Like the people around us here are great, and especially in Australia, everyone's there for everyone, and it's a good place to be when something like this happens.
Well, we will make sure. You have sent me actually offline. You've sent me some links to places where people, if their heart is so predisposed, that they can click on those links and go and help direct. Because sometimes the biggest issue with things like Red Cross and the World Wildlife Foundation and all those other foundations, it's a machine, isn't it? And it takes quite a bit more time to get. Yeah. Whereas, there's some grassroots organizations that the money comes in and the money's out within 5 minutes and actually going to somebody who really, really needs it at that time. And so we'll provide those links in order for people to sort of reach out and do what they can. Is there anything that you would like from the community at large, from the yachting community and from the world at large, that you think that your area could benefit from?
I mean, a lot of animals around our area have been greatly affected. They're estimated. They've been saying 500 million, but now they're talking about 1 billion. Animals, native animals that are losing their life. So that's to me the most important, that we can get these their habitats back up in order, because they've got nothing at the moment. People are going around putting water in place because there's no water. Food as well, they've lost all the food. So whatever animals did survive will end up dying if there's no support or help there for them.
So you would recommend that people find ways to donate for the animal population then?
Yeah, I believe so. That's the most important. Us humans can always rebuild, animals not so much. Yeah.
Especially considering it's our fault that they're in that position to begin with.
Yeah, most definitely. We definitely have a large contributor to them losing their habitats.
Well, Ben, thank you very much for your time. I know it's evening there. I just want you to know that if there's anything that we could do for you here, please do reach out. We're always open to having a chat. And if there's anybody else in your community that would like to come on board and you know, maybe they need some help for something, we'd love to share our platforms.
Yes, and thank you very much for having me and talking to me.
No, thank you. And you know what? We're all here for you. Thank you so much. This has been another episode of Coffee and Conversation for Palma Yacht Crew right here on Yachting International Radio.